Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng's remarks on Israel has been met with criticism from various quarters. The ANC wants Parliamentary Speaker Thandi Modise to have a word with the Chief Justice. The EFF and the Chief of the Mvezo Traditional Council, Mandla Mandela, are calling on the Chief Justice to retract the statements. Human rights organization #Africa for Palestine intends laying a complaint with the Judicial Service Commission. Now, during a webinar hosted by the Jerusalem Post, the Chief Justice expressed his support for Israel. For some analysis on this, we're joined by constitutional law expert via Skype, Pierre de Vos. Pierre, thank you as always for making yourself available. An interesting topic here with the comments being reported on by the Chief Justice. Now, of course, according to what's being reported by the Jerusalem Post and reported on by various platforms here in South Africa, Mogoeng Mogoeng lamented South Africa's adoption of a lopsided attitude towards the Israel-Palestinian conflict and said it would have greater influence if it displayed a more balanced approach. Now, in your opinion, are his comments deemed, or could it possibly be deemed to be unconstitutional, or is it merely improper?
Yes, so what we have about is what is the principle involved. Principle is that the judge shouldn't do or say anything that is either going to create an impression that there is a conflict of interest, that when another case comes before him or her, the judge might not be impartial. And secondly, the general authority and decorum of the bench must be protected, so you shouldn't get involved in political squabbles. So on both of those grounds, I think it was not wise of the Chief Justice to say what he did, because it is politically controversial. It's not the kind of thing that you can say as a judge, like corruption is bad, democracy is good, we have to protect the rule of law. So it was not an advisable thing to do. It's not a matter of constitutionality. The question is this in breach of the Code of Judicial Ethics? And the code is a little bit silent on these things, or a little bit vague, so it's not so easy to say that with certainty.
Now, we do know from what we've gleaned from Mogoeng Mogoeng as a person and his public persona, and indeed in his position as Chief Justice, he is a measured man, but he's also deeply religious. Would he have a leg to stand on against any potential legal criticism of his comment?
So, if you're a judge, you of course don't stop being a citizen and a human being. So your religion, your other beliefs, you are allowed to have them. You're allowed to live them out in your personal life. And so there's nothing wrong with him, or unacceptable, of course, with him being a very religious person. The same would have been if the person was an atheist, or a person is Rastafarian, or whatever the case might be. And so that it's very important to protect that. But as a judge, you also have to make sure that those personal beliefs do not create controversy, bring their bench into disrepute, and so on. And I think that's where the discussion is here.
And now, there was a statement from the ANC, their national spokesperson, Pule Mabe, saying that Mogoeng Mogoeng has entered the realm of political commentary and, like you mentioned, making himself vulnerable to adjudicate a human rights matter in the future. Some said out and out he's come out and he's criticized government policy. Not probably the first time that that's been thrown at the Chief Justice over the last few years. He's been in the crosshairs of the ruling party. Does the ANC this time have a good point that they're making there?
Well, I think the ANC is slightly missing the point in that they are objecting to a specific political expression, and that's not the principle. You can't just say, well, it's good if the Chief Justice make political statements in my favor, but not if he makes political statements that I disagree with. But in this particular case, there is a little bit of a problem in the sense that at the moment the Constitutional Court is writing a judgment on hate speech provision, in which the Jewish Board of Deputies is is involved. And so that now people are going to say, maybe rightly or wrongly, that whatever the Chief Justice, how he comes out in that case, it is clouded by his other statements about Israel. So that is exactly the kind of thing that you have to avoid. And in that sense, the ANC has a point.
Just in closing, we do live in a world where any utterance you make within earshot of somebody who is near a gadget and that can tweet it makes these kinds of discussions very dangerous to be had on any platform. Do you think there's enough of an understanding of those who operate specifically in the realm similar to what Mogoeng Mogoeng finds himself in, that they really need to tread carefully when it comes to this kind of thing?
Yes, so this is the problem. If you're in a position where you have to be impartial and where your whole job is actually not to create any suspicion that you might be have specific leanings, you know, in favor of Jacob Zuma, against Jacob Zuma, in favor of whoever, you have to be very careful. That is also why you won't find any judge going on Twitter. Well, not formally going on Twitter, tweeting. So that is a very wise thing to do, because exactly it's not only what you say, but how other people will use that or even misinterpret it. And that's why you have to be very careful when you are on Twitter.
We'll leave it to people like you then rather to go on Twitter and give us your opinion and your expertise. Thank you so much. Professor Pierre de Vos joining us live there. Thank you for allowing us to pick your brain as always. And you can hear a very, very windy Western Cape is where Pierre de Vos finds himself at the moment.